do it. Dude, how do you get your lighting so good?
It's a I have a light in front of me, and then I have I have a camera, like a cinema camera in front of me. So
It looks unreal.
yeah, it's a full setup. Like it's like obviously, like I come from like a cinema background, so
Yeah.
like building this stuff out. Like I usually travel with my cinema camera, and then I have like a IntelliTech light that's kind of like shining up, so not right in my face, but like kind of like more of like fill light more than anything. So
Mhm. Well, it makes a big difference. I was just thinking about this before. I'm posting a video just like what I'm doing for this setup.
yeah,
And I like, you obviously are huge into content for as of the last, like, I don't know how many years, 10
yeah,
years. I
no,
don't know,
not that
30
long.
years. Yeah. I don't know, 5 years.
30. 20, I would say 2018.
Okay.
So
So 3 years
20, 3, 4 years. Yeah.
of going hard on content.
Yeah. I've gone I pulled back and then it gone hard. I'm going harder again now than I have. I'm going harder. I've been going harder in the last 60 days than I probably have in I can't, in the last year I've gone harder because like I started the coffee with Cody stuff, and like I try to do it like at least 3 to 4 podcasts a week. So
Oh yeah. Sick. Where you're hosting people and you're getting invited, or just one of those?
I just do daily lives on my like Facebook page, and then they get uploaded. So I take the content, I go live. I use a program called StreamYard. I go live on Facebook group, go live on our Facebook page and YouTube, and now
Mhm.
LinkedIn as well, because it allows me to go live on all 5 of those platforms.
Oh, sick.
Then what happens is my team takes the content, uploads it to Buzzsprout, and then Buzzsprout essentially filters it to like a podcast. It goes to iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, like all those different spots. And then we take it, we upload it to our website as well. We download the transcript of the words that I actually say, and then it helps with SEO.
Right.
And then I email our list as well. We have like a list of probably around 10,000 realtors, so I'll email the list as well. So
You know what's a lot harder than doing that is doing it all on your own and not having the proper apps. Eh?
it makes it more difficult. It doesn't. There's so many apps out there that make it super easy. Like there's an app out there called repurpose.io. Essentially like just takes your content and pushes it to other platforms. But StreamYard, it's like if you want to go live in multiple like spots, like StreamYard is definitely the best way to go, because you can go live, like I think it's like $60 a month, and you can go live at like 5 channels at once. So
Yeah, that's pretty dope versus just recording multiple videos and like trying to make it look live again.
yeah, so it depends on like where you're at in business. Like,
Yeah.
I have the affordability and the opportunity where I have designers that can, cut up videos and then upload them to a drive, and I can grab the content. Just takes time to get there.
Totally, man. That's good. So, for those of you who don't know, like, you and I know each other, so it won't always be that I'll interview people that I know, but it's kind of sweet when you do.
Mhm.
Man, so we did, we have a similar background. I'm gonna jump into music, man, because that is dope to talk about music. I find a lot of people lately, I'm like trying to meet people out west, and dude, no one really listens to metal anymore.
No, I
I'm
know.
like, what the frig?
It's sad. It's sad. I'm a huge metal fan. New Architects album is like phenomenal.
Is
And
it?
oh man, it's so good. Like so good. Like it's probably my favorite album this year. New
Oh, sick.
Architects.
Okay. I'm just taking
Yeah,
notes, by the way. Like,
yeah, cool.
yeah, I'll definitely check that out. I love getting music recommendations. There's something about that that's so like inviting and just enticing too.
Yeah.
Architects. Okay. I've been listening to old As I Lay Dying lately and getting
Okay. Yeah.
really fired up again from it.
Yeah. That's that guy, didn't that guy try to kill his wife, or like yeah, like I'm
I
pretty sure
think
that happened.
I think
Pretty
he
sure he put out a hit for her.
dude, he hired you know the story, right? He hired a
Yeah.
hitman and went to jail. And was it Prague? Or was that, no, that was Randy Blythe, maybe, of
Yeah,
Lamb
I
of
think
God. Anyway.
he was in I think it was in the US he went to jail. I'm pretty sure, like, because As of the Dying is a US band.
Yeah, and they're Christian, which is, it's sort of funny that it's like, you know,
Hey,
shit happens.
hey.
But
Like,
they do say it's frowned upon to hire a hitman. Like it's not an ideal thing.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not recommended at all. But yeah, I'm getting fired up from them. What else are you listening to lately? This is a question I like to ask, because when people ask me like what kind of music you like, I find that question really tough to answer.
Yeah.
So here's a way better way to question it. It's like, what have you been listening to on Spotify lately?
I'm still on Apple Music.
Well,
Everyone, like all my
okay.
friends shoot me about being on Apple Music stuff. I'm listening to a lot of Russ. If you've heard of Russ before, he's like more of like hip hop, like art, like hip hop rap, like just just really good. I love his stuff. I listen to a lot of that. There's a new artist called WizKid that I've been listening to a lot of. It kind of has that reggae type feel to it. But then
WizKid.
I'll WizKid, yeah, it really like really great album. Listen to a lot of his stuff. I kind of go back and forth between like ambient to rap to like hardcore music. I find the hardcore music stuff I listen to are like people I grew up listening to, like Under Oath and Devil
Yeah.
Wears Prada and Architects and Fever 333. Anything Jason Butler does, I love. Like he used to be in a band called Let Live. I was a huge Let Live fan, and now he's a band called Fever 333. That's like they've blown up. Really into that. Other than that, like music wise, I've been like I just go. It depends on the day, and it depends on what I'm doing. Like if I want to get fired up, like for work, I'll generally listen to some Russ because I find like he wrote a really good book called "It's All in Your Head." And it's like very like motivational. And I find a lot of his music is very like pump up. There's a song called Manifest that just like is very like I don't know, it's just chill. Like just depends on what kind of mood I'm in.
Totally. Man, you kind of reminded me of something. So I have this theory, and my brother's going to listen to this, and some of my buddies are going to listen to this. So it's going to be super funny. But so how old are you, by the way, right now? 31?
30.
30? Okay. So you're not quite in this stage. So I have this theory that this is about white guys. So we're in this, that
Okay.
when you hit like your early to mid 30s, you kind of like you kind of slip into this stage where you think you're cool, but like you're not.
Okay.
And like you sort of miss the mark of fitting into society. And I've been thinking about this. I've had this conversation with quite a few people. So you were talking about like, going back to music you used to listen to. So it's kind of that nostalgia. And I think that's part of where guys like this miss the mark. And by the way, like I'm totally floating into this, like new dad, like I'm not very funny, but I think I'm funny. And like, I think I'm cool, but like, I'm not that cool to other people. And I'm like trying to figure out these social apps and I'm like fucking clicking the wrong buttons and stuff. So it's like that kind of guy. And you can totally picture this now. You're like mid to late 30s, like all of a sudden he's wearing like clothes that he used to wear that used to be cool, but now are not at all. Like he's like just like sort of behind the times a little bit. And you can see these kind of guys like slipping through the cracks a little bit in like funny ways. And that's totally me. Like I'm just getting to that cusp, and I probably have another 7 years of being a wiener.
Another 7 years.
Yeah, it sucks.
38. You like all the whole entire like 30s are going to be that way.
I don't know if it's everyone. I don't know what it takes to be a wiener. I just know that I don't know if it's a genetic thing. I just know that it's white guys that are generally like early to mid 30s, and you got a good like 7 to 10 years. Like I know some guys in their early 40s that I think are cool, but I only think they're cool because I can't see past the wiener perception, right? Like two wieners talking to each other about cool stuff.
I think it's just like, I think it's just people. Like, I think like, I'll give you a different perspective. I think that it's people just like, I think at the 30 age, like people just like get more comfortable with who they are. And like, they stop giving a shit about what people think.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, as I entered my like third, and I think I really came into this really this year. I'm like I packed up. I decided that I'm gonna try to move to LA. I'm gonna travel more. I'm gonna do the digital nomad thing. And like in my early 20s, I don't know if I could have done that. Like I don't know like mentally if I would have been there to actually handle the uncertainty that, you know, like just doing the nomad thing like creates. Where now it's like I just don't care. Like, you know, like, and I think that like when you enter like your 30s, and not, this isn't for everyone, but I think when you enter your 30s, like you just stop caring as much. And I see this even with my friends. They just don't give a shit as much as like you would like when you're in your early to mid 20s. Like,
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm not trying to impress anyone. Like, it's
Yeah.
like I am, like I know who I am and I'm comfortable with who I am.
Yeah, that's a good point. And for me, it's like it's not being negative. It's more just like shine some like funny light on that, because like I'm going into that stage. I think you're right. It's just not caring as much, or maybe not at all, of like fitting in those ways. You're comfortable with yourself, so that you're listening to old music that you like, and it doesn't matter if other people like that. I've been listening to, I go through those kind of nostalgic times as well with music. And I noticed for me, it's music that I've listened to in about like 2008.
Okay.
So like specifically, it's like 2-year range, and there's like a ton of metal. There's like some metalcore. There's some death metal.
You and I are the same age, so like 100%. Like 2006 to 2009, like those are the times. Like those are like all the bands I grew up listening to. Like Under Oath. Well, we still 2009. I would have just graduated high school, so you would have just been graduating high school as well, then, eh?
Yeah, because I was born in '89.
Okay, so yeah, like, you know, like that makes sense. Like
pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. Like 18, 19, 20 years old, and like, you know, it's like that music really shaped us. Like I don't know about you, but like Taking Back Sunday, for me, like it was like a huge, like Taking Back Sunday, Under Oath, all those bands, like all those bands that were signed to like Solid State Records and signed to like Tooth and Nail. Yeah, those are all the bands I grew up listening to, and I'm like a lot of my friends still listen to the same music. So like, you know, it's like, and it's probably like like people, like if you're like 15 years old, you probably think this stuff sucks. But like I loved it. So
yeah, it's true. That's the cool thing about music too, I find, is I feel like that's kind of a gateway into getting yourself more comfortable with your, like with who you are, because music for me at least has been one of those things sort of all along where I knew when I liked it and I felt okay liking it. And I didn't like it because other people liked it necessarily. Certainly there's like influence from people you love and like that, or like check out this album. You're like, okay, I'll check it out because you said that. But there's just something so easy and like accessible about finding music you like and then liking it just because you like it.
Well, I think a lot of like, you know, as I look back at 2000, like I've had conversations with some of my friends about this, like, so we were in the band scene. I know you were in the band scene as well. 2006, 2009, like it was like a subculture within like especially the heavy metal, hardcore punk type of scene. Like there was a culture within a culture, like, you know, it's like, and then everyone had different like sectors that they really love. It's like the punk kids over here, the, you know, the scene kids who listen to like Under Oath over here, you had your metal kids who listen to like As I Lay Dying. And it's like you had all these people, and like you had like groups of people like coming together with like a common love for that specific band. Like I really saw that. I'm not sure if you listened to Under Oath at all, but when Under Oath came back and like they did like a reunion tour, like I literally felt like they played They're Only Chasing Safety and Define the Great Line front to back.
Nice.
And I literally felt like I was like in like a 13-year-old, 14-year-old kid in my high school room, like listening to this like CD on like repeat on my Walkman. Like it's just like, and I think that it's cool when you can get a bunch of people together that like probably felt the exact same thing. It's like you said, the nostalgia is real.
It's powerful, eh?
Yeah,
I can totally feeling. It is a really strange feeling. I can totally relate to the sort of subculture scene, and like the scene growing up for me too. And like Lindsay is really what I'm talking about. Lindsay and then Peterborough. It was so different. Like kids growing up now, or even 10 years ago growing up, was a lot different than the couple years before that. So I was like like 15 to 17 or 18. And like me and the guys I was in bands with, like we would put the shows on and we would rent the strangest venues. You'd rent like
We're the
right?
same thing. We were in Southwestern Ontario, so we were like Chatham,
Yeah.
Windsor, London area. Like
Yeah.
exactly the same thing. Yeah. No, I remember hearing about that in Peterborough. Peterborough was big. Yeah.
It was friggin' mint. Like we used to rent out like hockey arenas and shit. Like, and people weren't doing that. Like people weren't like, oh, you gotta play here. It's like, dude, that's where they store the Zamboni. Like, what do you mean you're gonna set up drums there? Like shit like that. And it got to the point where it's pretty cool to think of this, but you're just doing your thing because you love it. And there's like 100 kids coming out. And like that's huge.
Yeah, it
And
was
like
different. Like, like that was like, I don't know if like you ever had, like there was a promotion company back in the MySpace days called Supernova, and they put
I
out a bunch
remember
of
hearing
shows.
that.
Yeah, they put out a
Yeah.
bunch of shows, like,
Yeah.
and like, yeah, me and my friends have had multiple conversations about this where it's like, it's just so different now. Like the music scene is completely different. Like it's like they have a better gauge on it than I do because they played into their mid-20s where I kind of left my early 20s, stopped playing, but they played into their mid to late 20s. And like just the shows are different. Like they're just not the same. Like even like the London Music Hall was a massive like venue, and it's like, and I know some people that like are in that world and in that scene, and it's just like I tried to do a project in like 2014, and it just like there just was nowhere to play. Like there was like you could like there wasn't as many opportunities in like 2014 2015 to play music live as there was in like 2006 7 8 9. Like there was just so many more opportunities to play shows.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't totally know what it's like now.
Yeah.
I know that I don't hear about a lot of shows.
Yeah.
So I did know in Peterborough, apparently there was like this band, like metal bands would be hosted at this pizza place, which I thought was friggin' hilarious. And I'm like, that's kind of in the same vein. So maybe there's some people trying to spark some pizza parties. I don't know.
Maybe we're just super old now and like we just don't know all the shows that are going on. That could definitely be the case as well.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're right. I feel like you probably would because I feel like you're just sort of well connected, whereas I'm like the guy trying to catch up.
But I
And
haven't heard anything either. So like
no,
I think we're in the same boat. Like I don't know any
no,
shows. Like I remember shows like when I was in college in Peterborough, like there would be like shows, but they were still few and far in between. Like there were nothing like when I was in high school. There was a show every weekend. Like, we were playing every weekend. And I know this for sure, like even in the Southwestern Ontario scene, because I was in a band called A New Beginning, and we were playing shows every single weekend. And when I left that band, they kept playing, and they kept playing pretty much like every weekend. But then eventually when they stopped playing in London, the shows became fewer and far in between. So I think that's the case now, but like you get like, I think people our age, especially now, they're like less likely to go to a band they don't know. But if like Under Oath rolls up into Toronto, they're going to that show for sure.
yeah, totally. Well, huge following and like 20 years of experience, essentially.
100%, and nostalgia too, like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, nostalgia is powerful. Dude, what's your routine like? So I even this morning, because I've been following your stuff for a while, and I messaged you the other day because this is props for you, but I want to like air this out too. I used to find you super annoying. Like I liked you in person, then I'd see all your content because no one was really doing that.
Love it.
So I was like, dude, all this Cody May shit. I'm like, what is he even doing? Create your purpose, and then like studio PTBO stuff. And then like, right, I messaged you the other day being like, PS, I'm now feel like I'm in the same vein. Like now I'm trying to create all this content. So I'm like, props for doing that because that actually made an impact. And like, way to go, sticking true to yourself on just like putting the content out regardless.
It was
So
shitty. Yeah, it was terrible in the beginning.
Oh,
go back to a lot of videos. I think you grow with like, you grow over time, and like it comes back to like, I just don't care what people think. Like,
I think that's probably key, right? Like, I think the more popular you get, I mean, I've heard this, I'm not, we're growing in popularity in whatever brand or business we're in, but you're going to get more haters the more popular you get, right? Like that's part of it. That's a sign of growth, right?
Yeah.
What's your mindset around whatever form of hate you get?
I don't get a whole lot of it, to be honest with you. Like I don't really the content I put out is very geared and tailored towards towards realtors now. So I find like I'm really trying to find my my footing more than anything, where it's like we're changing a lot of like the type of content we're putting out as an agency. where it's like a lot more geared towards real estate agents, real estate teams. We just launched a real estate group coaching program. I think that from a content perspective, it's like the shift that I made in my mindset where it's like I stopped making content just for the sake of content. I started making content to serve the other person at the other end.
Right.
You know, it's like thinking a little bit deeper about the topics that you cover and not getting hung up on the views or not getting hung up on like the likes or people following you, and just more so utilizing it as like a PR play more than anything, where it's like, okay, the more content I put out, the more relationship I'm going to be able to build with people online. Because I think that it's like walking into a room, and like I say this a lot, like, you know, whenever I do public speaking events, I always say social media was not created as a marketing tool, it was created as a means to socially network. So it's just building relationships. That's what content is, just telling your story. And I think that people overcomplicate it, where it's like, I think where I get the most engagement definitely is over on Facebook. You know, that's definitely where I spend the majority of my time, because that's really where majority of my target audience is on Facebook. That's where I spend majority of my time. And I think that if you look at the things that actually get the most engagement, it's like just the conversations that I start, that I reply to, that I build relationships one at a time. I could ask a question, but the difference being is like, I'll ask the question and actually give a shit about what the person's saying and actually respond to them. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I think like people overcomplicate content. Like I put out educational based content, but then I'm also just having conversations with people that I'm genuinely curious how they're like, and I think that's a shift, is actually giving a shit about the people that like comment on, you know, take this time to have a conversation with you, because like they, like for me, from a content perspective, they like might know somebody that, you know, if they like, they might connect with me. They might not be a real estate agent, but they might know a real estate agent that they can connect with. And I had a good interaction, or, you know, created a good relationship with that person, and they're going to make an introduction to a real estate agent that they know. So with content, I'm really playing the long game 100%. Like, you know, it's like educational stuff, but also just like making friends. Like, I think that if you can look at it from a relationship perspective, I think it just changes how you produce content and what you do and what you don't do.
That's super neat. That's insightful. I feel like there's definitely some growth there with what you just said. Dude, you're in your 30s now. So who is Cody May?
Damn, that's a good question. I would say like I am finding out, I think I've shifted a lot who I am over the last couple of years. I you know, like the first thing that kind of pops in my mind is like, I'm an uncle now. That's like something I'm super excited about.
You're an uncle?
Yeah, I'm an uncle.
Sick, man.
Cool. I know.
Niece or nephew? What do you have?
I have a niece. Yeah.
Sweet.
Like she's the best thing like ever. Like, just like, I don't think I ever really like had thought about wanting kids until like my sister had her, and I was like, oh, like she's chill, and she just like that, she adores me and I adore her, and like it's like it really changes your perspective. And you just had a kid as well, so you know this. You know, I'm an uncle, I'm a business owner, I'm a friend. I'm passionate about what I do. You know, I'm a leader. You know, I love my team. I've been afforded the opportunity to lead some of the best people in the industry. And yeah, I want to have a large impact, you know, in the real estate and the entrepreneur space. You know, I would identify myself as an entrepreneur. Yeah, and that's you know, that's a little bit about me.
So how'd you get into this real estate sector?
Yeah, it's a great question. So one of my first clients back in like 2018 was a realtor. 2018, maybe even 2017, end of 2017. First client ever, Sean Handa.
The Peterborough guy?
Yeah, Peterborough guy. Yeah, one of my first clients, still a client now. He took a chance on me, and like we did some video stuff with him, and still to this day we do video stuff for him. He's like one of our only like video people that like we do some like one-off stuff with other people, but like we're mainly marketing now. And I was just like, oh, you know, it was really interesting. Like very first client, you know, he was we had the same type of ethos to life. And I started to kind of get more and more, I started to get more realtors that wanted to work with us, work with Pat McCauley, and then, worked with a couple clients out of Toronto, and it just kind of grew and grew and grew. And then I started to really understand the niche on a deeper level, like understand the industry. And then, so we started really marketing to real estate agents, saying, hey, we'll help you with your marketing and we'll get you leads. And that was like kind of the first iteration of like Studio PTBO really changing into more of a lead gen based business. And then we started doing that. And like, lead gen was just one element to the entire picture. So, again, like the real estate agents are busy. I actually left the space for probably 6 months because I'm like, I was having a hard time getting clients results. So I left the space, rather than trying to fix the program, I'm like, I'll go to a different niche. I niche shop. And a lot of agency owners do this. They go from niche to niche. And earlier this year, we said, no, we're going to go all in on real estate. It's what we're going to market. We're going to focus on. We're going to create a really kick-ass program. And we kind of said, okay, how do we do that? Like, was kind of the question. And then we started building out a call center that essentially, like, it went from, okay, we get you leads to, we'll dial your leads and we'll book the appointments.
Yeah, I just heard about this in one of your reels. This is super interesting. Tell me about this. Yeah.
Yeah. So so a lead comes in from Facebook, Instagram, Google, YouTube, TikTok, whatever platform you want to advertise on. We dial the lead. We essentially will dial them. Like, we know that there's two stats to drive our business. Like, number one, if you follow up the lead within 5 minutes, you increase your conversion rate by 100 times. Follow up more than 5 times, you can increase your contact rate by 70%. Most leads online take 22 touch points before they actually make a buying decision, or before they even want to talk to you. So for a real estate agent to call somebody 22 times before they pick up the phone is really hard when they're doing other things. So
crazy, eh?
I saw a void in the marketplace. I saw the clients that were winning, were using our call center, and they were dialing a bunch. They were either dialing a bunch themselves, they had somebody dialing, or they had their own ISA team. So I said, why don't I go out and build my own call center and fix the void? So we started doing that earlier this year. I have 6 call center agents now that their entire job, they work for the studio, the entire job is just to call. We ran into a snag with 6 call centers, getting a bunch of clients, all manually dialing. We just launched a brand new call center upgrade that essentially is going to 10x our dialing. So it's an automated dialer now versus them manually dialing. So that's a big change. But yeah, we dial leads for clients, we book appointments, and essentially we're an unlicensed assistant, and then their back-end sales process takes over. The thing I'm most excited about is that we notice, like, okay, we generate the lead, we book the appointment. It's like they get on the phone with people and then they stumble over the conversation because they don't have communication skills. So the thing I'm most excited about right now is we've launched a real estate group coaching program, but I'm not a real estate agent, I'm a marketer. So I have been looking for, and I finally got connected with a good friend, Vikram, who essentially is going to be leading what we call our real estate growth academy. So we're launching a coaching program for all of our realtors that essentially we're going to help with, like, scripts, KPI setting, goal setting, time management, role plays, that essentially inside of our group coaching program, we're going to be a done for you front end with a done with you back end that essentially is going to help them convert online leads. So Vikram is our head real estate coach. He built a real estate business, $300 million in sales.
Is he the guy on Dragon's Den?
Yeah, I wish he was on Dragon's Den. Yeah.
That guy's meant.
He built his business, $300 million in sales, and now he's working with us. And yeah, he's coaching our people. Like 70% of his business was built, like his last real estate business was built solely on the backs of online leads. So that's what we were looking for as well. And yeah, we just created my goal was to create a program that if I could plug anyone in and they just followed our system, that they would get results. And that's really what we're trying to create.
That's like, isn't that the perfect method for anything, right? You have a complete template that's basically done for you. You just have to follow all the steps and you will get the result.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And that's really what we're going after now, is like, just do these things and you will be successful. And if you don't do them, then obviously you're not going to be successful. And it might be successful. It's just like, you might just have to get there different ways. So yeah, that's really what we're up to. Like the real estate, I understand the industry like really well through the clients we work with. Like we worked with hundreds of real estate agents. So I just understand the industry really well. I understand the market, buying processes, the like I just understand the industry better than any other industry from a marketing perspective.
Are you investing in real estate yourself, or is that something you're interested in doing?
It's something I'm interested in down the road. Like the thing is like so I joined Rain earlier this year, real estate investing network, with the idea of like, okay, I'm gonna invest in some rental properties. And then I realized how many rental properties I actually need in order to be like actually like be financially free. I'm like, okay, let's put a hold on this. Because I think a lot of people have like a really warped understanding of like how to actually be financially free. Like you need like 26 properties in order to be financially free.
I don't necessarily think that's accurate, but what kind of units?
That's what Rain. So Rain said, in order to like really be financially free, like and like live like the stat was 26 properties.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Who the fuck? So people that only have 26 properties are, well, what are we saying is financially free? Do they?
Yeah, like they do like millions. Like, again, like if you want to do millions in production, like you need 26 like rental properties. So it made me take a step back a bit and be like, okay, I don't necessarily have the time in order to learn this right now. And I just shifted my mindset towards like, okay, like what if I just put all of my focus on growing the business first, getting the business to the point where it's self-sustainable. So then I can go and do the other things like the investment, like learning the investment. I just like, I don't want to I don't want to do things that I'm not 100% confident in. And the other element was like, I decided like earlier this year, I'm like, I want to start traveling more. So
Right.
I have everything I need. So I'm like, I'm definitely going to get into real estate investing. I just felt like now wasn't the right time because I made a really massive move this year as well.
Yeah, you're living in the States now, man. That is a huge move.
Yeah. So that was a part of it. That was a part of it. Like, I think I'm going to invest my capital into trying to figure out how to like, get a visa over here, like a permanent visa. And like,
sweet.
So that's kind of like where rather than investing in elsewhere, I'm very bullish on crypto.
You're what?
I'm very bullish on crypto.
I don't even know what you're saying. You're bullet to crypto?
Very bullish on crypto.
I don't even know what that word means. Bullish. Where are you learning these words?
Bullish. It's like it would be like I'm very intrigued or I'm very like interested.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know anything about crypto. I got to ask you a couple things about real estate first. Yeah. So now I know that this isn't your information. The 26 units. So I'm like, dude, that's crazy. Like I own 2 rental properties. I got bought out of 2, and like were they BRR? Like, were they buy and flips? No, buy, and that wasn't the original strategy. Yeah. One was a buy, live in it, and then reno the basement. So not a full flip, but an upgrade.
How much in like cash? Like how much cash flow is each property producing?
So collectively, I'm getting about 30 grand a year on 2.
Yeah, but that's not financially. That's not like you can't live off of 30
grand. No, but you got to think like 2 versus 26. Like those are big steps to get there. So
yeah,
on 5.
Yeah.
Like, what does it mean to be financially free? I guess like I think some people would probably argue that it doesn't mean $1 million a year. In that, it does. Well, for you, that's meant.
Yeah, and that's where like I would say like I would put like this is my definition of financial freedom: to do what you want, when you want, with who you want.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good definition.
That's different for everyone. But like that was the stat that Rain said. Like the average person who's financially free in real estate, they have at least 26 rental properties.
You know what's interesting about that stat too is I don't know how that stat wouldn't change from 5 years ago to today. Like it would likely have to be completely different.
Yeah. Well, it also depends on like I think that like it also depends on like how cash flow positive the deal is.
Well, that's what I mean. Like it depends on cash flow. It depends on purchase price. It depends on the market. Like,
yeah,
I'm not an expert, but I am like a real estate investor, and I've learned a lot from guys that were literally doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's a lot of properties to get there. It's certainly possible, but I think the one thing I respect about your answer, And the one thing I respect about you is you're not the one selling houses
Yeah, no.
and then not necessarily investing in real estate. Like the thing that I have, it's a little hypocritical is when there's real estate agents out there, and there's probably thousands that are great at selling, but they don't invest in real estate. So it's sort of like this hollow front, I think.
Yeah, no, I'm
Whereas,
definitely like I'm a part of RAIN. Like, you know, like I made sure this year at the beginning of the year I joined the real estate investment network. And that was kind of like my first step into like getting the knowledge that I need in order to make an educated decision. And
yeah,
I just
that's
realized
great.
that if I was gonna do this, if I'm gonna do this really well, I need more capital. And then where can I get the capital? I can get the capital for my business. Like there's nothing that will pay you more dividends than actually reinvesting into your business. It's just like your core business. Like, you know, we've this year, like I poured pretty much all my capital back into growing the business, creating a better program. Because like, you know, I like the goal for us next year is to double our revenue again. So, you know, in order to get there, I'm still early on too. Like I run Studio PTPO, my agency. I run it by myself now. So Neil and Nora are, yep. So Neil and Nora are bought out of the business. Yeah, it's just myself now.
That's great, man. Congrats on that. Those are big moves. Like I said, I'm following you. I'm like, I was kind of thinking to myself, like, man, he's spending a lot of time in California, but now I know that you're like, I want to live here. Then
yeah, like I want to move. Like I really want to move here. Like it's yeah, like the weather is like I'm not gonna say it is chilly here. It's chilly here today. But the weather.
What temperature is it?
It's probably like 17 degrees today.
17 is chill. You haven't adapted that quick. Come on now. You're used to Southern Ontario.
I know. I am, but like because 2 weeks ago it was like 26, 27 degrees. Like it's a pretty massive drop from 27 to down to 17.
Yeah, that's fair. 10 degrees.
Your body gets acclimatized to the weather pretty quickly. You'd be surprised. Like,
you know what? I wouldn't be surprised because I've lived in a lot of places. Yeah. And the weather out here, because we're in the same time zone now. I'm just north, right?
Yeah.
It's a completely different climate here where it's like it's a moist cold. So people don't like the word moist, maybe women listening, but damp cold we'll go with. And I do kind of hear what you're saying, because sometimes it's like 3-4 degrees and it's like it feels like you're like, dude, I have the layers on, but I'm like, I'm still kind of chilly. Yeah. Whereas like back in Ontario, like I would wake up in the morning and go walk outside in the backyard barefoot for a few minutes and like act like I wasn't cold at minus 10.
And I think it's like your body gets acclimatized to the like the weather as well. Like I know when I get off the plane, like if I'm cold now, I know when I get off the plane, like when I come back to go visit my family, like it's going to be cold. Like I know I'm going to be freezing, because I know people that like do it. They come to LA and then they go back home for to see family at Christmas, and they're like, it's cold. Like even like I have a friend who just went back to Boston, and she's like, it was freezing there. Like,
do you think you'll wear balaclava when you go back?
What is that?
A balaclava?
No, I have no idea what that is.
Are you serious? So it's like the full on picture, like bank robber toque. Like the toque with the.
So it's funny. I've seen people wear that in LA. Like people wear the full, like, you know, like mask and stuff. Yeah. No, not my thing.
The mask is different. I'm talking like toque material, and it's like cut out for your eyes.
Yeah, I literally saw
people are wearing that.
The other day. Yeah, so
in California.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
What are they doing that for?
I have no idea. Maybe they were actually robbing somewhere. But
yeah,
like, I actually saw somebody like wearing that. Yeah.
That's perfect for a disguise.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that,
I was surprised. I was like, they were actually in my building. I was like, I got into the elevator. I was like, oh, this is kind of weird.
You carry a lot of cash on you?
No.
Good, man. That's the wrong building too.
I didn't even have my wallet on me. No, I'm in a really nice building.
Are you? It looks nice, man. Your apartment looks great. It's a condo.
Yeah. I'm in downtown LA right now. I kind of decided, like, you know, when I move here, like officially, I'm not going to do downtown LA. It's not my thing. Probably end up in like Santa Monica, Manhattan Beach area, most likely. I just got to figure out some stuff in order to actually do it.
But you're downtown LA right now?
Yeah, I'm downtown. Yeah.
Nice, man. I've only been to California once. What was I? I was like 20. I think I was 20. I was in a band.
Okay.
I joined a band called Awakening State. We were like this, it was like a 9 Inch Nails style,
Okay, cool.
industrial, kind of heavy, kind of emotional, whatever. I was drumming for it. That's all I've ever done in bands. And I joined this band. It was like pretty cool. I saw some opportunities, and the vocalist, like the guy that basically, it was his band.
Yeah.
He had a connection with a producer in California in a place called Weed, California. You ever heard of that place?
I haven't. Weed, California. Where is it close
Weed.
to?
Yeah, dude. It's close to Nevada. So it's like,
Oh,
it's
okay.
pretty,
So,
it's
yeah.
pretty far north.
Yeah, it's north.
But so that was my trip to California, going to a place called Weed. And everyone is like, dude, where is that? Like,
yeah.
really?
Yeah. I've never heard of that. You know, I'm pretty south. Like I'm more south than that. That sounds like you're up.
You're pretty south, man. You're pretty south. But it was a good experience, man. The weather was sick. We got to work with a really great producer. This producer produced albums with Johnny Cash, Metallica.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Prince. Yeah, like some like decently big bands, I guess you could say. Metallica, sort of big. Yeah, man, it was good. So yeah. So what's the deal back home then? Like, you have, your team is all remote, I guess, now.
Everyone's remote. Yeah. So we had an office in Peterborough. We decided to kind of go completely remote back in April. I still have 4 staff in Peterborough. I have 2 designers. My executive assistant is in Peterborough, and then my ops director is in Peterborough. So 4 in Peterborough. Everyone else is in Argentina, Bolivia, Colombia. So, and then I'm in the US here.
Keep it tight to the Western Hemisphere at the least, eh?
What was that, sorry?
Keeping everyone in the Western Hemisphere.
Yeah, Argentina's like, because of the time change and everything, usually they're only like 2 hours ahead of EST right now. Like, or yeah, they're usually the same time zone as EST, but they're 2 hours ahead of EST, and they're 5 hours ahead of me right now.
Oh, they're 5 hours ahead. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, they're 5 hours. Yeah, but it changes, like it changes, like the fallback pushes them. Like what just happened, the time change, that, but like they'll go back to the same as EST in April when we go back to regular, when we switch times again.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a bit confused by that time zone change stuff, so I'm just gonna just skip right over it.
I'm a little confused as well. So
dude, I always get fucked. I always, on those days, I seem to wake up in the middle of the night and look at the time, and I'm like, I know the time is changing, but I'm like, what does this mean? Like every year it's the same. I get completely like baffled.
You wake up at the time? Like I just sleep right through it. I don't even notice.
Well, it's not that I always like, it's not that I wake up at a specific time. It's like, even, it might even be in the morning. Like I seem to get a little fucking thrown off by it, but I'll wake up and I'll be so confused to the point where I'm like, I am completely confused by this. Like I know every year, 2 times a year, it's happening once forward, once back. Yeah. But like I just get totally jammed up mentally, and I don't know if it's something if it's like a class I skipped in public school or what. Like I need some of that information to sort of regulate that for myself. But anyway.
Spring, what is it? Spring back, fall forward? That's
yeah. Even with that though, I still get confused.
Okay.
It's like some preliminary shit I need to, like some neural pathways I need to develop or something. Cody, I don't know. Dude, what's your routine like right now? Like I'll get a little context here for people. So I'd say you and I are both guys that are big on productivity in that.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big topic, and it can definitely go, like, there's some polarizing thoughts and arguments around it, but tell me what your morning routine's like. Are you a shake guy? You fast? You eat cereal? What do you do?
I'm right now, like, I fast right now in the morning. I need to get, usually I'll either fast or do a shake in the morning. Generally we'll have lunch in the afternoon, but like my mornings have changed. Routine has changed a lot in the last 60 days because it's changed. I've started to realize that all good habits happen out of, I think, necessity. And like right now our morning meeting start, like before when I was in EST time, morning meetings started at 10 a.m.
Yes. So now you're 7.
I would wake up at 7, and I would have 3 hours before. Now, in order to like get into that meeting at 7, I got to be up by 5.
Yeah.
Minimum. In order to get day started well, 5:30. So yeah, right now 5:30, usually Monday to Thursday. Friday, I generally, depending on whether I go to the morning huddle or not, because we do morning huddles every day at 7 PST or 10 EST. So generally the first thing in the morning, I'll literally listen to, I use an app called Calm. So it's like doing some meditation, like just quick 5-minute meditation in the morning. I'll throw on some music. There's a thing that Brendon Burchard teaches called the release meditation technique that just kind of like, I find for me, it's super simple, just repeating the word release, and it just like helps me like start my day. From there, what I'll do is like I use a high performance planner in the morning. So this guy here.
Nice.
Yeah, no, it's great. And there's morning prompts, like where it's like, and I try to fill it out every day. It doesn't happen every day. I don't fill it. Like I didn't fill it out this morning, but I planned out, I write out my day, like generally the night before, so that I know exactly what's happening throughout the day. I time block everything like the night before. Yeah, I just try to keep it to like 3 things. Like I have it written, like I have it time blocked, and I just click on my calendar and it pops up the things I need to do first thing in the morning. So my biggest thing is like I use Brendon Burchard's high performance planner, and like one of the things on there is like, what are like 3 goals and priorities that need to get done today, and then like what are the tasks that absolutely have to get done today. So I'm big on using project management software, scheduling thing in your calendar. I'm a firm believer, if it's not in your calendar, it's not going to happen. So generally when I'm working on larger projects, I'll time block out the time to actually work on the project.
Right.
But it's the same thing with my morning routine. It's like everything's time blocked, but I make it simple. Like it's like wake up, meditate, shower, go for a walk. Like I'm going for a walk now. Like that's going to change when I go back to Canada. I'm going to have to figure that out. Probably go to the gym in the morning. Because I'm probably not going to go for a walk when it's like -6 outside. And then I'll fill out the planner, and then I'll kick it into high gear, and I'll hop on a call.
So I'm super big on morning routines. I've been sort of like studying and like trialing and blah blah blah, and I found I got into this. There's been a bit of like a revolution with this, like things commonly happen, like you try some shit out, you realize it doesn't work or it's not efficient, and you go back. So I posted this total joke this morning about like this inefficient strategy for goal setting. It's me just like rocking out to Missy Elliott, like not filling out a planner. And it's like, dude, that's kind of how I feel sometimes. So I had this list of like all of these great things that I feel like grounded me or sparked interest or got me focused or worked on my health or optimized whatever. And I got to the point where there was like 10 things on this. Like my morning routine was like 4 hours. Like it wasn't a morning routine. It was like a half day. And I watched this. I know you follow Alex Hormozy too, because I saw, well, clearly you do, but I also saw you post something about him.
Yeah, he did a chat with our crew, chatting about business, probably like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, he's sort of decent at business, sort of.
Yeah, he's acquisition.com is only $100 million business, no big deal.
Yeah, he's doing fine, I think. I'm not gonna send him any more money. He had this video I watched, and it was totally like just breaking the mold. He was like, yeah, I don't really have a morning routine. He's like, I drink coffee and like that's pretty much it. And then I start working. And I was like, oh man, I love getting challenged by things when people are like, yeah, like simplicity is better. And this, like, 3 things that you do. My buddy RJ, who too, I think, RJ Kaiser, he got me onto this like basic gap journaling, gratitude, which is similar to like your release technique, right? Similar. The A is affirmation, right? You go through an affirmation, and then P is power list, and you do 3 things on there. So it's like simplicity is better. And I found that, even like lately, since I watched that video, I'm like, what are the things I need to do to optimize versus what are the things I like doing to optimize? And I'm like, I'm playing around with that because there's a lot in the want category. There's like sauna, cold water, training, breathing, grounding, being outside, fucking looking up at the sky, no phone time, certain amount of water, fasting. Like there's a lot of stuff there. Gratitude, there's like an hour of journaling, there's a self-reflection course I'm doing. Like there's a lot of stuff that it's not a morning routine after that. So
for me, I try to break it. Like I forget half the things you just said, like, because there were so many there. Like
way too many.
I find I'm best in threes. Like, I don't know, like that's just how my brain operates. Like if I put anything more, like if I put anything in a block of time other than three things, unless it's like fully written down, I just won't do it. Like my that's just how my brain computes things. So it's like, for me, it's like like when, I wake up, as long as I meditate, I move, and I what's the third thing? Meditate, movement, and
Release.
yeah, like, like is like, for me, it's generally just three things. Do three things in the morning, like, and nutrition, like making sure that nutrition is on point.
Are you still doing isogenics?
Yeah, like I ran out of isogenics, so like I just, whatever shake I can do, whatever meal replacement in the morning. And then like the next thing about right now is like Whole Foods is like literally right on the road, so I'll generally shop at Whole Foods, and yeah, just hit up the hot bar. It's pretty good. So
Hot bar, that sounds nice.
yeah, it's pretty chill. Whole Foods is good. I like, my biggest thing, like from a, like, I don't like, for me, from a fitness and nutrition, as long as like I feel healthy, that and I feel like, as long as I'm moving, like I'm always trying, like my big thing, like over the last little while, has been like, I just want to get 12,000 steps in a day. If I get 12,000 steps in a day, I feel like I accomplished something.
Cool, that's good. That's simple too, right?
Yeah, like go for a walk, like, and listen to a podcast as I do it. So that's kind of like the big like movement thing that I've been focused on.
So you guys heard that. If you need some shit to listen to this podcast and go for a walk, says Cody May. Dude, what about you mentioned something in one of your reels. I took a note on it. So you talked about I don't know if you recall this, you have a lot of reels, but in one of your reels you talk about there being shortcuts in business.
Yeah.
You remember that one?
There is. Yeah.
Okay, so elaborate on that. What are you talking about?
Talking about buying information from people that have already been where you want to go. People say all the time, oh, there's no shortcuts in business. You have to put in the work. You got to figure this out. It's like, well, like, or I could get around people that already have the answer to the question that I have, because that's why I'm such a firm believer in like investing in like to coaches. Mm-hmm. And like I have like, I pay a lot of money monthly to be a part of Taki Moore's boardroom.
So who is this Taki Moore guy? Riley Porter was telling me about him. He's some dude with funny camera angles or something.
Oh, Taki is so Taki's my business coach. He brings together some of the top coaches in the world. He has a program called Black Belt and a program called Boardroom. And Boardroom is for Black Belt is to essentially help coaches go from 6 to 7 figures, and Boardroom is to help business owners and entrepreneurs and coaching businesses go from 7 figures to 8 figures.
Right.
He's good friends with Alex Hamosi, who we brought in, and like we were just chatting about. So Taki's our business coach, like kind of strategy. But like for us, it's like really the collective. It's like, because there are people in the community, especially in Boardroom, that are already doing 8 figures. And it's like, they're just so giving with their information because they were where you were once before. Like, I have a friend, Sharon Srivatsa, who's become a really big mentor to me. Like, he's built a really, really successful real estate brokerage. And he's given me a lot of insight into the industry, and, helped me change like acquisition methods and, test different things. It's like, I think that, people have like, I think the issue with like, especially the online info world is like, people are like, oh, I did this $500 course and it didn't work for me and I'm never going to invest in my business again. It's like, that's just a bad way to look at it. I've like done tons of shitty courses, but it's like, like you could just spend 500 on a course, another 500 on a course, 1,000 on a course. And then like you spend, another 1,000 on a course, and all of a sudden that course makes you $1 million. It's like, I just think it's just buying information. I'm a huge info product fan, and I'm a huge fan of getting around people that are already where you want to go and just asking them questions like, how would you do this? This is what I'm struggling with. Like, being quick to ask for questions. And those are, I think, getting around those people and asking questions is the shortcut.
Have you had times in your business where you were chasing a goal that hadn't been done before by someone else?
I think that I had, but like, you know, like then, like, I think the more that you get, the larger the community and the larger you open yourself up to other things, the more you realize that somebody's probably done this thing well before. Like, especially in the real estate industry, everything's been done before. It's just a matter of like putting your little spin on like the thing that like maybe somebody did something in the past. Like we just launched a paper booked appointment, paper live transfer. I know other people that did it, they just didn't know how to execute on it well because they didn't put enough time in to actually figure it out. Where we said, okay, like we need to upgrade our call center. We need to do this. Like, how do we do this really well? And I think like for the most part, like every question that I've had about business has been answered through the community.
That you're this Taki Moore guy. Taki Moore?
Yeah, Taki Moore. It's the community. Like like anytime I have a question, I said this to our team as well. Anytime you have a question, just throw it in black belt and somebody will get you like an answer. And maybe it's not exactly the way they frame it. And then maybe they didn't give you the answer, but they opened up, they helped you unlock something inside of your brain. Well, that's happened to me before, where I throw out a question and I get a bunch of answers and I take a compilation of all their answers and I make my own. And then that thing that I made my own works.
Yeah. It's like recycling, repurposing information. Yeah,
exactly.
I have this concept I'm working on in this ebook I have. And I want to talk about how you're an author too now. That's sick. I just saw that somewhat recently. This paved trail concept where it's much easier to internalize the goal being completed if someone else has already done it. So that's why I was asking you that. Whereas like it's easy in like fitness to like, these goals are really easy in fitness. So there's like the classic example of like the 4-minute mile of like Roger Bannister. He's like this old guy now. I don't even know if he's still alive. He's probably still alive. And like before that, you know this story?
No, I'm not familiar.
So you used to be a runner, or you've done some running. You did a half marathon.
I've done running. It's been many years. But I did a 25 kilometer like probably 8 years ago.
That's great. We're gonna count it. Like you're a runner in my eyes right now. So before this year, I think this is in the 70s, it was said that humans couldn't run a mile in 4 minutes. Mm-hmm. Dude, that's really fast.
Yeah, it's like insanely fast.
Like it's really fast. It's so anyway, this guy ends up training for it. He completes this in sub 4, I don't know, 350 something. And then that year there was like a bunch more people getting it in sub 4.
Yeah. So
like, I feel like it's not coincidence. I feel like it's the mental like understanding and the ease that comes in. This is my thought, is it's much easier to conceptualize an idea if you have seen it already completed.
Oh, totally.
Right?
Yeah.
I just feel like that's really powerful. So I'm sort of just supporting your idea of like reaching out to mentors, reaching out to people that have already been there or that are just, elite or more experienced than you in some ways. I'm the same way. Like I love having a coach, whether it's like they might not title themselves as a coach, but like a therapist. I love that, man.
Yeah, it helps you create like clarity in your head, 100%.
Yeah, it's great. Mentors, therapists, personal trainers. I love it all. I have a mentor right now. I'm doing the Grant Cardone course.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
He's sort of good with money too.
A little, just
like he's not too bad.
Yeah.
But that's great, right? Like there's tons of information. There's one thing he taught me so far, like he taught, tons of people, but it's quantity over quality, which is a really interesting sort of topic, right? And that's sort of, I think that you would have been probably in the same realm of that, right?
Yeah.
Just producing like as much as you could at one point, and then now you're refining the quality a little bit more, maybe.
Yeah, like I think that, like 100%. It depends on what we're talking about. Like, if we're talking about sales, that's a pretty broad statement. Like,
for content.
Oh yeah, for like, okay, for
Yeah.
content itself, yeah, like
Yeah.
100%. Like I think it's quantity to start, because you have no idea like what will pop. It's like, yeah, the thing I think about often is like, think about like songs that like artists put out like 6 years ago that all of a sudden on TikTok blow up. You know, like it's like no one knew who this person was, then all of a sudden this song got played on TikTok and it blew up. And I think that that's the way I look at content. It's art, but it's also like, I look at it from like a sales perspective too, where it's like, if I'm just putting out like really good content, like I put out I put out content today, or my team did, is like how to effectively manage employees. It's like 2 years from now, somebody might land on that video. They might search how to effectively manage employees, and the SEO backlinks will be good, and they'll watch my video, they'll get into my funnel, and they might eventually buy from me. And that's how I kind of look at content as well. And like, and I've really started to shift my, even like the naming conventions of how I approach the content I create. Like we use a program called Answer the Public that essentially scours the internet and looks for ways that people are asking questions, because I want my content to be searchable more than anything.
Yeah, that's fair. So you're, yeah, like you said, another point, supporting the long haul.
100%.
Yeah, that's great, man. Okay, I got a speed round for you here. I'm gonna call this. Yeah, I'm not even telling you the questions I'm gonna ask you. I'm just gonna ask you them. So you got 10 seconds to answer each one of these.
10 seconds to answer each one. That's freaking
No timer. We're just gonna go for it. All right. So best book you've read that's fiction.
It's fiction.
Yeah. 5 seconds.
God.
You want an extension?
Oh man, like it's always hard with books. It's always hard with books.
You want to come back to that question?
Let's come back to that one. Yeah.
All right. So what do you think about stand-up desks? 10 seconds.
Oh, 100%. Do it. Get
You're
it.
sitting down now. Is that a
I'm
convertible?
down right now, and the only reason I'm sitting down right now is because I don't have one right now. I have one back home.
Do you? Okay, we'll ship it out to you.
Yeah.
I
love it.
Who do you prefer, Ashley Olsen or Mary Kate Olsen?
What kind of question is that?
I know both. Both. Yeah, they're probably both great people. Home Alone 1 or 2?
Home Alone 1 or 2.
So he's either lost at home in his hometown or he's lost in New York.
Definitely 1. I feel like 1 is like, no, I'm gonna go with 2 because I like the New York one better.
New York vibes, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Then last question, emo or screamo?
Screamo.
Yeah, fair enough. That's an easy one, right?
Yeah, that's
best of both worlds. Dude, how can people, who do you want to reach out to, number one, other than, anyone, but who are you specifically looking to help, and how can they reach out to you?
Real estate agents, real estate teams looking to grow their business, looking for appointments, looking to grow their GCI, looking for coaching. We have a group coaching program we just launched, and we're looking to make a massive impact in the real estate industry. Yeah, just real estate agents that want to grow their business. That would be the biggest thing. And you can just email me at cody@studioptbo.com, or you can just go to studioptbo.com, fill out our online form there, and chat with us a little bit about our pay per booked appointment system, where it's like you pay as long as we book you appointments. So yeah.
Dope, man. That's good. That's all I got, man.
Love it. Fun times.